Let's give it up for DaelVasquez.
Welcome to Halo, the supermassive space ring specifically designed for one purpose: to kill you and me. Okay? These giant rings were created by the Forerunners, an ancient civilization who fought against a parasitic threat known as the Flood. Now the Flood were these zombie-like creatures who ate you, and then they pretty much possessed you, turning you into other zombie-like creatures. Now this was a problem. So what the Forerunners did was create the genocidal space rings to destroy all life on in the galaxy and get rid of the Flood. Now I have a video prepared for you, and this video will show you just a bit about Halo. It's about specializations, something specific to Halo 4. However, it'll have to load on YouTube. There we go, perfect.
Go for it.
Specialty means on the battlefield.
I want you to notice
Specialization number 1.
how these people are playing.
People like to call this guy silent but deadly. Those people then mysteriously vanish within the week. Specialization number 2. Tracker. When life gives him limits, he says, "You life, I want a rocket launcher." Specialization number 3. Stalker. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. The stalker makes sure it's served at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Specialization number 4. Rogue. A warrior of extreme focus. He won't let a few bullets stop him from letting a few bullets stop you. Specialization number 5. Engineer. He's always in the right place at the right time, almost as if he knows when and where the ordnance will drop. Psychic powers? A definite possibility. Specialization number 6. Pathfinder. The wise old man said, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." The Pathfinder prefers riding in an armored assault vehicle and carrying a big machine gun. Specialization number 7. Operator. A true wheelman. Nothing will slow him down. Not plasma, not enemies, not even crosswalks. And specialization number 8. Pioneer. Quick learner, doesn't even come close. If kills were books, this kid would be at the top of his class. So you think you're special? Well, why don't you just show us how special you are, soldier? Lock and load. Halo 4 is coming.
What you just saw was a little introduction, seeing how people play, and also seeing what the Spartan is capable of. As I load the video back up, you will see that the rings are still there. And these rings are indicative of the power of the Spartan. They can wipe out all life on the galaxy, and with a Spartan, so can you. Let's talk about the button layout, the most important thing. Here, you will see the front and the back of the controller. You will see 4 different buttons along with 2 joysticks, the directional pad, and 4 different kinds of triggers. Let's start with the face buttons. A is to jump, and jumping is very important in Halo, because in Halo, you are allowed to actually jump, unlike other first-person shooters. In Call of Duty, it's kind of like a hop. In Halo, you jump. It's a full-on Olympic thing. With B, you can crouch. Crouching is also very important, because I don't know if you noticed, but you will soon see that each little Spartan has a little circle to the bottom left side of his screen. And that circle is his radar. It shows all the enemy movement and all friendly movement that occur on the map. When crouched, you will be completely invisible towards the radar. So it's always good to crouch whenever you're walking into a highly hostile area. With X, you reload, and reloading is essential because without bullets, you can't fire, and without firing, well, you get shot at, and that's never fun. With Y, you switch weapons, and switching weapons is crucial because you don't want to stick to your little pistol. You want to use the lasers, these kinds of lasers. But they're stronger, a lot stronger. Strong enough to destroy vehicles, as you saw in the video. With the stick here, you move. Well, you don't move. You move your screen. And that's very important to aim, because if you were only allowed to aim in one direction, you will not be able to kill the guy that's next to you. Sorry, Mitch. With the top joystick right here, you are allowed to actually move your character. And the movement is limited to nothing really. You can move anywhere you want, it's all 360 degrees of movement. With a directional pad, you could call down ordnance. In the video, you saw that there were 3 little arrows going like this in a T shape, and that was essentially your kill streak. Instead of having giant helicopters or killer robots, as you do in Call of Duty and some other games, you can call down either weapons, grenades, or you can have a power-up. All that I will show you in a few moments. With the left trigger, you fire your grenades, and it's just a general chuck, nothing special. Right trigger, you fire your weapon, and each weapon has a different form of firing. You either have automatic rifles, which fire consecutive rounds, or you have semi-automatic rifles, which you have to keep pressing down on the trigger to fire different shots. On top, you have the bumpers, and bumpers, they have different functions depending on your control scheme. On the traditional control scheme, the right bumper helps you melee, and meleeing is good for close quarter encounters. For example, if you're right next to someone, say like this, I don't want to start shooting him because chances are he'll panic and hit me, and 2 hits is all it takes to get a kill. So if he lands 2 hits on me before I can empty my clip into him, well then I'm going to lose. However, if we both melee, then we're pretty much tied. So you'll always want to keep an eye on your distance, because that is crucial to knowing how to manage your damage and how to hurt your enemies. Don't worry, all this sounds complicated, but I'll soon demonstrate what everything means. With the left bumper, you have the option to use your abilities. And there are different kinds of abilities. There's the thruster pack, which is essentially a dodge. You can strafe from side to side, front and back. You have the jetpack, which is a jetpack. And you have the option to go invisible. You have a shield of sorts that heals both you and your teammates. Now, these 3 buttons here are important if you're playing online. The middle button will introduce you to your guide, which I will show you. That puts up your friends list so you can talk to them if you're in a team. But if not, it really doesn't matter. Start pauses the game, and back, that brings up your scoreboard so you know how much butt you're kicking. Let's talk about the weapons. Now, there are 4 tiers of weapons in Halo. There are the mid-range weapons, which fire, well, from close to mid-ranges. So, for example, if I was standing here, and an enemy was standing, say, right there, I could get a few nice shots on him and deal some heavy damage. However, if I were using a short-range weapon, I'd be reduced to this distance. If the man were further away, I would do less and less damage the farther away he goes. However, this is the optimal distance for close-range weapon performance. You then have the long-range weapons, your snipers, which are used to either take down vehicles or used to take down enemies that are extremely far away. Don't worry, I'll soon demonstrate. Lastly, you have your power weapons. And your power weapons fall under all 3 categories. However, what makes them different is the fact that they can kill you within 1 trigger pull. Now the vehicles. There are again different kinds of vehicles. There are aerial vehicles, there are heavy vehicles, and then there are support vehicles. Here, you will see the Wraith tank. This is a heavy vehicle designed to take down other vehicles and infantry. However, as big as it may be, it can be taken out by the mongoose. This tiny little transport is just enough to take down this huge tank here. Why? Because the player needs to know how to manage his vehicles. Let's say that I were riding this, and a man walks up to me. Well, in Halo, you have the option to hijack vehicles. However, you have 2 different kinds of hijackings. If I were to hijack this one, I wouldn't be able to board it. I'd have to destroy the vehicle by hand. And the way you do this is, you go up to the vehicle, like so, and then you just press X. X allows you to hijack. And once you hijack the vehicle, you just have to press the right bumper, the one above the right trigger, and you start meleeing the vehicle. If you were in the mongoose, for example, you would just have to press X and you would kick the man off. I will soon demonstrate. But it is crucial to know how to move this huge thing around a very narrow map, or how to keep it hidden in open spaces. Map control is very crucial in Halo. It's not like Call of Duty where you can single-handedly just run around with a suppressed shotgun and get all the kills you want. In Halo, you don't have a mini-map, so it doesn't reveal your individual position. However, you have the radar, which I hinted at. And what the radar does is that, for example, if all of you were moving, I would see you on the bottom left side of my screen. However, sitting still, I'd have to physically look at you. So for example, if I were outside, then I wouldn't know that you guys are here unless I stepped in. This is the map that you saw in the video, okay? And this is the starting point of blue or red team, and this is the other starting point of blue or red team. In a game of Slayer, as it is called in Halo, or Team Deathmatch, as it may be better known, both teams start at their respective bases. Now, each team has 4 different kinds of vehicles. They have an aerial, a heavy, a transport, and then they have typically a support or another transport vehicle. Now, the transport vehicles, they help you get around from place to place. However, they aren't very strong. They're just built for speed and transportation. Your heavy vehicles are slow, but very strong, and they can deal a lot of damage. Now, this is important if, say, you wanted to bring your tank around the river, keep it here, and then you can get some nice shots over the hill to their base. Now, why is this important? Because not only do you scare the people that are here, but you also bring out a nice little stationary turret, if you would. And this is good because from this point, you can allow your teammates to potentially traverse through this little valley, over the half line, and into enemy territory. Now, there are 3 types of divisions in that. There's the starting, there's your area, and then there's the middle. What makes them special is that at the starting base, or at the starting area, you get all your weapons and all the essentials you need to essentially get over to the other team side. In this land designated your area, you are pretty much safe from long-range attacks because it offers nice support. See here, you can hide behind these rocks, oh wait, and those rocks. And this is good because if a sniper were here, he would not be able to hit these rocks. Well, he would, but they're just rocks. Who cares about rocks? Then there's the middle area. And the middle area is a very dangerous part because if you're here, then you're essentially on equal footing with the enemy team. And if you're on equal footing, then that's a problem because you actually have to start fighting. Here you're safe, here you're not. Keep that in mind. These are my sights, and now for the examples. As I load this up, or not, there we go. As I load this up, notice how the 2 Spartans here look very different. You have the option to customize them in the home menu, and customization is purely cosmetic. You really don't need it for anything else but to look good. And let's face it, it doesn't want to look good. This is the loading screen, typical of any game, because we all need to load at some point. The game's about to start. I'm the character on top, Gonzalo, you're at the bottom. Doesn't matter which loadout you pick. I have set the game up so that we both spawn right next to each other. Notice that Gonzalo just went onto a gravel. He clearly does not know what he is doing, but that really doesn't matter for now. Here you will see weapons that I've glued to the wall on both sides. You will see your heavy weapon here. You will see your long-range weapon here. Then you have close range and medium range. Now, this little thing is the plasma pistol. And as you saw in the vehicle, once he shot the car still ran him over because of the specialization. But that's a completely different thing. If you charge up the plasma pistol, Gonzalo, would you kindly follow me? Now please, hop on this goose. Thank you. Now, drive towards me very slowly. See how I disabled this vehicle? He can no longer drive. Now, what this allows me to do is to just approach it and hijack it. And now that I've hijacked it, the vehicle is mine. Until, of course, he takes it back by default. In which case, we have to start fighting. However, now that I've demonstrated the power of the plasma pistol, let's move on to close-range weapons. Here is the energy sword, a traditional close-range weapon and very iconic to Halo. Gonzalo is on the other side, meaning I'm going to have to go chase him. But instead of chasing him, I could just hop into a giant flying banshee-like thing called the Banshee, which is a plane of sorts. Anyway, so here you see that I'm flying towards him, and you see that little red thing. Well, I could have shot him, but I first need to demonstrate the little red thing. Now, he's shooting at me, but fortunately, it does no damage because his weapon is very small. See how he has to attack me, but it is very futile because, again, he can't do anything to me. As I approach him, or look for him, I can get off a nice little shot, but he's very smart to evade using the jetpack. Now, I get closer to him, and I start firing. So, once I get the kill, with the Banshee, it is very important to pull back up, because the lower you go, Gonzalo, may you please hijack me?
Where are you?
I am getting close to you. There you are. If you're down low,
Come back.
you have the possibility to run him over or splatter him, as it's called. But you're also very susceptible to being hijacked. Now he's trying to shoot me again, so this time I will let him hijack. Please stay clear.
Oh my god.
There, see, now that he's hijacked me, he kicked me out and now he has my bird. However, I want the bird back. So I have several options. Here you will see some vehicles. You have a turret that I could take him down with, but I don't want to. I want to do this with a bit more class. I could get into this giant robot, but again, it's just too big, and nobody has time to get into a giant robot. So I get out of the robot, and I will walk towards that white icon. So as I walk towards the icon, notice how it is in a very peculiar outline. Please don't shoot me. I panicked and I kicked him out. Don't worry, Gonzalo, you'll soon have it back. You can take it. So he'll board the vehicle, and notice how I have this huge thing. You're probably wondering, well, what is this huge thing? And I say to you, this is called the Spartan Laser, a heavy weapon. And the heavy weapon, whoa, the heavy weapon has the potential to shoot, to get a kill within one shot. And I missed. Don't worry. I'll get him now. There. Once I get the kill, you will see that I got the T-shape again. And this is my ordnance. I've accumulated enough points to get my power-ups back. Again, I said that you either have the choice of a weapon, grenades, or a power-up. I will demonstrate the power-up. And it is an overshield. What the overshield does is it changes your shield, essentially making it green and making you stronger. So I see that he's just shooting or firing his trigger, and he's approaching me. Now, I could potentially panic, but I really don't want to. So let him get close, and then kill him. I said kill him. Wait, very good.
Gravity hammer is bad.
The difference between the energy sword and the gravity hammer is that the gravity hammer is much more effective at close range. Now, I'll back up because I need to keep my distance. However, once my distance is kept, I can start spraying at his face. And once that is taken care of, I can move on to steal his weapon. However, if I didn't reduce the spawn time, I could go in for that teabag, making him feel very bad, and I just killed him. Essentially reducing him to absolutely nothing. So this will prompt him to feel bad, and later get revenge on me. See how he's trying to sneak up behind me? I can see him on the bottom left side of my screen, my radar. However, once he gets a few shots, that's not going to be enough to kill me. So he's going to have to get very close. But don't worry about this. I could just get into the giant robot,
Come back.
and then rain pain down on him.
Oh my gosh.
What's important is that I'm shooting him right now, but that's not the only thing that's important about being a giant robot. The important thing is that you could scare him. See how I'm chasing him back to his base, essentially giving my team some time to get over the deadly half zone. He's firing at me, but since I am a giant robot, I don't typically take that much damage. So I'll just approach him and squish him, like so. Now I'll proceed to walk back to my designated safe zone. However, he's in a tank, and well, this thing pretty much, it shatters really easily. The tank that he's using is a lot stronger than my measly robot. However, once I see that the arrows have popped up, notice how I looked at the red arrow. That means that he is within range of potential targeting. Now, I get close, and he's very cautious to go up and down the hill. So I need to work around using my environment to my advantage. Now, I know that the tank's very slow. However, the robot is very big. So in a battle of big sticks, I'm going to have to use my environment. Since I am so tall, and he's so small, and the resolution not good at all, I was not able to see him. So now I'll have to make my way all the way back to the other path. Get my nice little revenge on Gonzalo, and then just keep jumping over. Steal his tank. But before I steal his tank, notice that there's a turret there. Remember how we talked about hijacking? The gunner on the tanks is very important because it prevents other enemies from hijacking. So he parked this tank in a very dangerous spot. Anybody could just come and steal it. That's not good because tanks are very expensive nowadays. So I'll take it back to my house. But before I do so, I want to take care of that pesky little Gonzalo. So once I do that, I'll just make my way over, again, using the map to my advantage. See how I'm trying to get in between these two rocks? I'm using them for cover. So once I'm in a safe zone, I really don't need the tank anymore. However, I did notice that he was there. I look at my radar because I can no longer see him past the rock, and he's above me. So I use my power-ups, again, using my terrain, and there he is, and he will die. There.
You're both dead.
So again, running. He has my mongoose, a fast transport. That means he's fast, but easy to take care of. Through the gravity, one should always keep an eye on his targets, knowing where they are at all times, whether they're on the radar or not. The last of the transports is the one called the Ghost. And this is very fast. However, it only works, you can only fire it when you're not boosting. I'll show you. See how I can fire it and move at the same time, but I move very slowly. So if I were to boost and go faster, I can no longer shoot, and that's not good. You only want to use the shooting function when you're safe, or when you don't need to get out of an area. Now that Gonzalo's dropped his ordnance, I can proceed to steal it from him. The way you do that is the way that you steal a care package. You hold X, and you take it. Now you will see that my screen is turned red. I have a damage boost, increased damage, but for a short period of time. I will proceed to find Gonzalo, and show him what it's all about. So I'm walking, I'm looking,